see who should play me. I would love to see like a combination of like George Clooney and The Rock. So it's like The Rock dubbed over by George Clooney or something like that. Some sort of weird combination of the both.
Oh my gosh, I've heard, actually let's go with Tom Holland, right? Spider-Man, it's super close. They both have that kind of awkward energy. We both kind of sound similar, so I think it'd be great.
Hey guys, it is Tristan with Nerdette's Newsstand, and I want to talk a little bit about this article I seen from the Mary Sue, but it got me thinking not only about the premise of whitewashing, but gender and race swapping too. And I've talked about these subjects before, and I actually do kind of mildly agree with the Mary Sue. Literally, there's a first time for everything, right? So, the problem is if you've got to be consistent, right? So, let me tell you what the article about and tell you why I have the problem with it. It says, for the 1,000th time, stop pitching white actors to play Japanese anime characters. Now, here's the thing about the Mary Sue. When it comes to any sort of ethnicity or something like that, if a white actor plays them, it's called whitewashing. But even whether it's live action anime, we're going to talk about My Hero Academia, but you can go to even comic movies. So most recently we had The Birds of Prey. When it came to Black Canary, I bet they were the same, right? Let's take a guess. Do you actually think they thought this was race swapping in a bad way? A way? Absolutely not. So if it happens to white people, it is absolutely fine. But any other race, it can't happen. Like, we saw this with Batwoman too. And the funny thing about that character was she was originally white. They're just really not very smart. So, they're very hypocritical. And I do agree with them to the point. But when it comes to anime, it's a little harder, right? Like, their characters are from Tokyo or stuff like that. They're drawn sometimes Western or white. So what do you go with? Like, do you go with how they're drawn? Or do you go with their ethnicity? It's really hard. It's a lot harder, I would say, than comics. And it hasn't worked out. Like, there's a lot of times it really hasn't worked out. Like, in Death Note, for example, the only thing people really agreed with was Willem Dafoe. But even so, like, some of these things work out really good. You can talk about, like, Ghost in the Shell. When it comes to Scarlett Johansson, and I think she looked great. I think she looked very much the role. But, you want to check Mary Sue again? Okay, let's try. Of course! It was whitewashing, right? No, stop. She looked perfect for the role. But, again, this is past stuff. So let's see what they are thinking about the future. So, My Hero Academia is part of a modern big three when it comes to shonen manga popularity. Yes, and it means, of course, that they're talking about live adaptation. Let's talk about that first. How about we just don't do it? Like, honestly, sometimes you just ruin these things. Animation and stuff like that works so much better in this setting. Even in, like, okay, so you're talking about manga here, but let's talk about comics. Even in that, if you notice, like, what was that the Wonder Woman one I just watched, Bloodlines. So good, but if it was, like, you know, live action, it wouldn't have that quite depth that you can get from animation. So just, first off, don't do it. That's my biggest thing. But, of course they're going to. They're going to try. Netflix, Crunchyroll, those people are going to try. Yeah, there's a good chance it's going to fail. But, anyway, so 3 words that put fear into the fans of animation, but especially anime. Exactly. It's a lot trickier, I would say, than comic book stuff. But it put fear for multiple reasons. But for me, whitewashing is the biggest one. Now that's ridiculous. It absolutely is. Because if that's your biggest fear, you should worry about the storyline, how it works, how they adapt it, who they cast, of course. But what these people need to learn, and what's so irritating about it, is it should go on merit. Now, there's a lot of times when a character that doesn't match ethnicity Not a lot of times, I would say a few times. Actually works really good. Look at Daredevil. Like, there's a lot of good race swaps. I mean, I wouldn't say there's a lot. There's a few that have worked out really well. The majority of the time, I think it needs to stay true to canon and lore, and simply that is because if something works in an anime, in a manga, in a comic book animation, if those things work and then you change them to live adaptation and completely change them, do you really expect the same results? Like, you can't expect to change something so much and then have it work. People are going to be upset. There are huge fans, whether it's My Hero Academia or, Wonder Woman, it doesn't matter. Nerds are going to nerd, right? So, during the LA premiere of My Hero Academia Hero Rising, Justin Briner, who voices Izuku in the English dub, told Nerdette that he would pitch the character as Tom Holland. Those are the two, well, there was two. One was Chris Sabat, which, yeah, we're not even going to get into that what kind of a person he is, but I'll leave that at the door. Those were the videos I showed in the beginning. So, when they were talking about All Might, he said, someone like The Rock or George Clooney, which, I could see. That would work. Like, I don't know. I guess I would have to think of it. He always looked like, when he was All Might, at least, always looked like a giant Trump to me. But that could be a little bit to do with the satire comic. But even so, and as far as Deku, he said Tom Holland. Now, that's immediately going to irritate people. Now, these are fan castings. You have to remember, we all have this, when we read something, when we watch something. In our head, we have this kind of look at how we personally think that they should be. And everybody's going to be different. So there's nothing wrong with a little fan casting. Like, I definitely want to pick Tom Holland, but, that's just me. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, you know what? If he wanted Chris Rock to play Deku, that's his fan casting. There's nothing wrong with it. But of course, the Mary Sue again is gonna call it whitewashing. Like, so hypocritical. I did show the beginning I did show the video in the middle. I'm not gonna re-record this. I did show the video in the beginning. Now, let's get back on track. I'm a hot mess today. So, she goes on to talk about, she's spoken about race in anime before, and while the issue of hair color and eye color always come into play, my rule of thumb is using the standards that's been set in the anime. So, my biggest question here, I think her name's Princess Wikis, like, is that her real name? Like, that is her fake name. I'm gonna be like Pixie Dust. That's gonna be my new fake name. So this is Pixie Dust with Nerdette's Newsstand. Anyways, she goes on to say there are plenty of anime in which there are white characters and more diverse talk about Full Metal Alchemist, Attack on Titans, which I just got done reading. I could review if you'd be interested. There's a lot of anime and manga that I could review. I just don't know, with the way my channel is, if people are interested in that. I actually really enjoyed Attack on Titan. Like, that was one of those you can't put down. So anyways, however, most of the time, a lot of these characters, Japanese in name, cultural signifiers, and other markers, despite the fictional settings. Right, that's absolutely true. So why are you doing this for anime, but not for Black Canary? Not for, what was it, Jimmy Olsen in Supergirl? You're like, brave and fucking stunning. But yeah, no, when it's anime, it's different. Like, God, you know who the real, like, racists are when you read this stuff. Like, I totally agree that it's harder when it comes to anime, but I totally agree that you should stick with the lore 100% of the time. Not 98, not 50 like this bitch, but 100% of the time. It works for a reason, but yeah. Yeah, it just, Some people are so dumb. The same way, we know it's still white-based European fantasy, even when it's in a different universe, right? And you are going to go through, and I'm not even going to read the rest, because it's dumb, but My Hero Academia's live action's a bad idea. I don't like the idea of it. But even so, like, don't ruin something by calling it whitewashing, by doing your fake outrage. Like, at this point, there's been so much fake outrage lately. I unsubscribed to a lot of channels. I don't like this stuff like this, obviously, is fuel for a video. But then you have those channels out there that just, are blatant liars. And I probably unsubscribed to about 10 people this weekend. I get sick of seeing it. I guess maybe I'm more affected by negativity than a lot of people. And when all I hear throughout, because I listen to YouTube literally all the time. I'll put a earpod in and I'll listen even when I'm on the floor at work. So when it's constant negativity, like this shit, I get sick of it. So I unsubscribe. I stop looking at articles like this. Like, the plain and simple thing is stick to the lore. I know I got off track there. I apologize. The plain and simple thing is stick to the lore. It's not that hard. It's really not. But if you're going to say you have to stick to, an Asian actor, then please be consistent about it. Don't just say it's okay for Asian and black people. It's okay for everyone, because it doesn't matter what color your skin is. If you were born with it, who cares? Like, God, people are annoying. Anyways, that got way too long and way too off subject. I apologize. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hey guys, I want to give a huge shout out to my Subscribestar and Patreons. You guys literally make this channel possible. Black Knight Fool, Brucey, Chris C, Dave Ross, David L, Jeffrey Allen Carnes, Sanjuro, Jeremy Burtz, Joe Bustify, Kato Round, Magical Exotic Diamonds, Mighty Pauls, Mike Buckner, Robert, Steve Glasker, Timothy French, Ala's Matt Films, Alexander Trapp, Way Else One, and Troy Reiser. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like on the way out, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.